everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be making some really lovely, simple, round fabric sculptures. These little guys here that remind me so much of pebbles or rocks or stones, and they sit so wonderfully together. There's a beauty to them all with all the different materials that you can use, the different trimmings you can do, and even stitches you can add to them. They're really quite easy to make with just a few different materials that you'll have at home, and I can't wait to share the process with you. So let's start creating and making some of these wonderful little sculptures. There's not a lot of materials that you'll need to make these round fabric sculptures. I've grabbed some filling from an old pillow I've had at home, a variety of different material scraps, a few bits of trimming, bits of lace, bits of fringe, a little bit of an old coil rope, some embroidery thread in a variety of different colours, and some scissors. Now I've chosen a particular colour theme for my round fabric sculptures. You might like to think of a different theme that you'd like to create yours in. You could also be looking at a holiday theme, a Christmas theme, or even a beautiful autumn theme. I've kept with my beautiful rust, eco and tannin dyed fabrics. I really love the pull that they have of creating images of nature, of land, which I'm really enjoying using. And then of course I've also done some dyeing, some rust dyeing on some old fringes and some lace that I've had. I've cut them off old pieces of clothing and I'm using them. I'm using the DMC embroidery thread, so I'm pulling in the colours from the fabric into the threads and then just getting a few different colour tones in as well. So when I sew on my little round fabric sculptures, I've got a visual stitch pull, which I really like as well. So this is our materials. Let's get making. So I've just grabbed a spare piece of material I had from the pile of material pieces that I'm choosing for this project, and I'm going to cut a rough circle shape in the fabric. I'm not after a perfect circle, I'm just after a rough shape here. And of course the size of this, if you've got larger or smaller circles, you're going to of course get those beautiful variety of shapes of round sculptures when you put them all together. So then I've grabbed my needle, I've threaded it, it's a double layer, I've put a couple of knots in the end, and it's simply a matter of popping my needle in the fabric, then going under and coming back up the top, in the fabric, under and top, and simply run along and do a few, and then I'm just going to pull it together like this. So this is the inside of my circle, which is why I've kept the knot inside there, so it won't be visible once the round fabric sculpture is finished. And then simply go in, under and up, do a few more until I go all the way around the circle, gathering and pulling through as I go. You could do the stitches individually one at a time. I just find it's quicker if I bundle a whole heap of stitches at once, and you can see the stitches are traveling all along the inside of the circle. And there we go, that's the stitch I initially started with, and this is my last stitch. Pull it up. And I've got, as you can see, I've already got a lovely little area to put my pillow stuffing inside. So I'm going to leave the needle and the thread on because I want to tie it off once the stuffing is in. And I'm just going to gather some stuffing, pop it in the middle, tuck the sides over so it's enclosing the stuffing. And then I'm going to grab this piece of thread that the needle is still attached to, and I'm going to pull it as I continue to feed the stuffing in, and it creates a lovely closed effect as I pull. As you can see, you can gather it up quite tightly. Then all I do is simply use my 2 fingers there to give it a pinch to close up all of the fabric pieces, and then just do a couple of stitches to close it off. Just a couple of over stitches, nowhere in particular, just to, as I said, close it off so the stuffing doesn't escape. It's 3, maybe do, I've got a little bit of stuffing there that wants to come out, so I'll close it up around here. Another one here. And there we go. You have got your first little round fabric sculpture. Now, what I like to do, if I've got a lot of thread left in when I finish making the round sculpture, I like to bring it back up through the bottom all the way up to the top, like so. And this is especially effective if you've got a really light colour and you can really see the colour of the thread on it, and just do some stitching on the top for a little bit of a visual effect. These are little seed stitches, just placed randomly. It works beautifully too if you've got a really dark contrasting embroidery thread, or you might like to do some little French knots, any type of stitching. Some rebel stitches look great, just to create a really beautiful effect. And it's a great way that I find for using up my thread as well, so I'm not wasting any thread. You could do little circles or patterns on it if you like. As I said, I like just to keep them random and organic. And when I feel like I've used up enough thread, it's a simple matter of pushing it back down into the little round of sculpture, gathering it back up at the bottom. I'm going to cut it off and then I'll tie a knot at the back so I don't see any knots in the front. So just a simple knot. Now I can add a few more different colours of embroidery thread onto those stitches as well to create a really nice effect. The choice really is up to you. So there we go, that's our first round fabric sculpture, and I can guarantee you once you start making them, they become quite addictive and the collection starts to grow really quickly. Now I've threaded the needle with a darker thread this time just to show you how I attach some lace or trims to the top of the little sculptures. I'm using the same one that I've just added the stitches to, and it's a simple matter. What I tend to do is just do a little circle of these trims. You don't have to do them this way, I just enjoy doing them this way, and then I fan them out, and I'll simply once again come from behind the soft sculpture, put it up through the needle up through to the top, and start sewing just in random spots my trim, any type of trim that I want to use, some lace, as I said, some string or rope. I'm always surprised how visually interesting little bits of discarded lace and trim looks on these little sculptures, and I'll just continue to secure it in just random spots around and in the middle of the trim. I can always thread the needle again if I need some more thread. And once I've used up most of the thread, I poke it through to the back again, and I'll tie it off at the back, and I'll probably grab some more thread and continue securing that trim until it's nice and tight. So as you can see, from just a few simple materials, you can create this really beautiful display of around fabric sculptures. As I said, I love them. I love the visual appeal of them, and I love using them as components in larger textile art pieces. There's a visual pull to them when you put them alongside different shapes of other bits of textile art pieces. I hope you enjoyed making them, and I really encourage you to explore the different sizes, the different effects you can get from different material, the different effects you can get from different trimmings and laces and tassels. They're a great fun activity to do, and I hope you enjoy creating them just as much as I do.